This is Potentially Brilliant with Mark Ian Griffin. Inspiring, motivating, and educating entrepreneurs and professionals to break through barriers and see higher levels of success in life. There is brilliance in you.
Well, welcome to Potentially Brilliant. This is Mark Ian Griffin, your host. I am thankful and very excited to have you listening to our show today. This is episode 3. Wow. I am really glad we're here. So Potentially Brilliant, what is it all about? The fact is, everyone, that you are brilliant. There's something in you that is waiting to break out and shine. A lot of entrepreneurs, and this is true whether you're an entrepreneur or just, going through everyday life, maybe not an entrepreneurial thing, but just, working at a regular job. There is greatness in you. There is brilliance in you. And what we want to do here what I want to do here at Potentially Brilliant is inspire you. I want you to, see inside yourself and see those things. Everyone has had someone say something bad about them. Everyone has had, things come against them. Everyone goes through life and gets dirty. Nothing is clean. Nothing is easy. But hey, that doesn't mean that you cannot aspire to greater things. It doesn't mean that, just because you experienced failure, because you experienced pain, because people have said things about you that were hurtful and painful, and you have the choice to buy into what they say or decide to be someone else what you want to be. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we need that voice. Sometimes we need that inspiration. Sometimes we need something to hold on to and say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to believe that truth. I'm going to live that truth in my life. Okay, and that's what Potentially Brilliant is about. It's finding that what's inside of you that's waiting to break out. And so, you might hear me say, are you a breaker? When I'm talking about when I say, are you a breaker? Are you breaking through those shells? Are you breaking through those walls? Are you breaking through? And it doesn't have to be some massive victory. It can be just little stuff. Something. I mean, heck, if you're a person who is talking on the phone and you're afraid to talk on the phone, you've conquered that. Last year, my wife did a really great thing. We live in Chesapeake, Virginia, so we have a lot of bridges and stuff. If you're familiar with this area, it's part of coastal Virginia. So we got a lot of waterways and stuff. We have a lot of high bridges. So we have one bridge, and I forget exactly. I know it's like 1,000 or so feet high. If you Google the Jordan Bridge, it'll tell you the height of it, but it's pretty high. In any case, she has a thing of heights, and she wanted to go ahead and conquer that fear. So we took a walk over that Jordan Bridge. I went there for moral support, but it was something that was holding her back, and she wanted to have that opportunity to break through that fear, that thing that was holding her back. So it can be little things, it can be huge things, but those breakers, those opportunities to break through are huge, because what happens is once you make that decision to break through that fear or that thing or that belief, because most of the time it's the stuff that's right between our ears. It's a belief that we have bought into in our life that is holding us back, right? Because unless you're trying to sprout wings and fly, you can pretty much do anything, right? There's very little that the human being cannot do. All right. So it's all a matter of believing that you can achieve it, and then pursuing a path to figure out how to make it happen. Okay. And yeah, sometimes part of that path might be partnering with somebody who is stronger in a skill set, or heck, it's definitely going to require kind of partnering with somebody who can at least either mentor you whether it's mentoring you one-on-one, or if it's through the radio, or through books and audio or videos. But you can break through those barriers. Now today, I had an interview with Dr. James Davis. Man, I'm really excited about this interview. It's really great. I'm going to cue it up so you can check it out. He has some great things. I asked, with this episode, because Dr. Davis, he's a pastor, he's an entrepreneur. I met him years and years and years ago, so it's really a pleasure to have him on the show. But one of the things I asked him is, does faith and business, does it actually work together? So what he shares is going to be, I think you'll really enjoy it. So I'm gonna stop talking and get things queued up. I'll let you check out the interview, and then I'll be back afterwards. All right, talk to you soon.
Do you need money to operate or grow your business? Cash4Invoices.com is here for you. The number one cause of failure in small businesses is a lack of working capital. Don't close your doors. Cash4Invoices.com can help. If money is tight, if you are constantly trying to push payment deadlines until your customers pay you what they owe, we want to talk to you. Stop struggling. Let Cash4Invoices.com put the money that your customers owe you in your pocket now, not later. Low rates and funding up to $5 million in as little as 72 hours. There's no guesswork. Bad credit is no problem. Bankruptcy is no problem. If you are a new business, that's no problem. The pre-approval process is so very simple. Go now to Cash4Invoices.com.
Do you need more leads for your business or service? Well, of course you do. Every business does. It's our lifeblood, right? But are you tired of paying for leads that are questionable, leads that are low quality, or leads that you paid good money for only to find out that they've been sold to your competitors? Imagine having hot leads calling you instead of you calling them. Imagine having access to unlimited leads for pennies on a dollar. Since 2008, the TW3 system has been teaching professionals and entrepreneurs how to do just this, how to grow your business, how to get more leads for near nothing. If you want to grow your business, you owe it to yourself to check out tw3marketing.com. Again, that's tw3marketing.com. All right, and now today we have Dr. James Davis. Dr. Davis is the pastor of Chesapeake Christian Center. He's the author of Fulfilling Prophetic Destiny and Futuring. He has had a lot of experience helping others to motivate and pursue their entrepreneurial dreams. I knew he had a lot of value and have great things to share with us. So it's a great pleasure to have him on today. Dr. Davis, or I just call you James, is that fine?
Yeah, James is fine.
Okay, great. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, I guess kicking it off, just share us a little bit about your journey, yourself as an entrepreneur, yourself as even how maybe your faith even works in with your efforts or your walk in the entrepreneurial marketplace.
Well, I did not really fully understand how ministry and business work together. I grew up in an environment where they were two separate things, and either you want to do ministry or you were going to do business. And sometimes as being a pastor, sometimes from the church standpoint I grew up in, being in business was shunned upon. But I always knew that there was another side of my calling other than just the traditional pulpit area. And God had given me a heart for business, and probably back in the 90s, and I'm kind of dating myself, I got a hold of a book that really changed my life and begin to show me that there's a dual side, and that ministry and business can actually work together in synergy, so that while the spiritual aspect of being a pastor would meet the spiritual needs of the people, the business side of who I am could really show individuals the natural side or the practical side of living day to day, and that it was the will of God for people to be in business, to be productive, and to encourage and motivate them, even for those that grew up in the traditional church setting, that there's a calling on their life greater, because everybody is not going to be in the pulpit. And so one of the things God had begun to deal with me about was this term called economic missionaries, really kind of showing people how they can serve Him, and yet at the same time He can use them in the marketplace. They can be productive, they can be prosperous, and yet they can exemplify who He is right where they are. And so that kind of got me on that track.
Now, I want to, just for a quick second, I'm loving this, and I love this term, economic missionary. I want to unpack that a little bit more. But I will also want to touch on something that some of our listeners may not be familiar with. And you and I kind of, we know the same language, but some people may not understand the word calling.
Okay.
If I were not a, church person, how would I understand calling?
Okay. Well, I look at a calling as a, it's a yearning. It's where you really, let me put it like this. Mark Twain said something that was profound. He says, the greatest day of a man's life is the day that he was born and the reason he knew why. Mm. And so whether it's that why, it's that, and I think regardless of where you are in life, every one of us has to answer the why question as to why am I here, and what was I born to do? And so once you discover what you were born to do, I call that the calling. That is the call. And so whether a person hears an audible voice on the inside of them, or maybe they're outside and they're in nature, and there's all of a sudden this epiphany of why they were put here on the planet, that's what I call the calling. So hopefully that kind of helps. But I believe every one of us has a calling, because that calling is the why. Why are you here?
Yeah, that's strong, and I think that that will help a lot of people wrap their head around when I say calling. If I hear that word, what does that mean? And I think everybody on this planet has that question at some point in their life when they're thinking, why am I here? What am I here to do? What was I born to do?
Right, absolutely.
All right. So you were talking about economic missionaries. I was really hoping that you'd unpack that a little bit more. I really love that.
Well, that was the term that was given to me because, again, I've, we a lot of times when you ask people what is a missionary, they think someone who goes into a foreign land and they're spreading a gospel message of Jesus and what have you. And one of the things that really hit me one day was that people have to understand that the economy is a big deal, and entrepreneurs sometimes feel like in order for me to be successful as an entrepreneur, I've got to not be who I am and become something else just to be successful. And so one of the things that I've come to believe that for people who have a calling on their life, or maybe a relationship with God, that they have to understand that far as their walk with the Lord is concerned, that they don't have to be a preacher to do this. They can be who they're called to be. Because sometimes people feel like in order to be used by God, I've got to be a preacher, I got to be this. And God wants to take you right where you are with the giftings, with the talents that he gave you from birth. Work those gifts, work those talents, and take those talents into the marketplace and demonstrate who he is. And you don't need a title to do it. All you got to do is just be productive. And what it would do, it would demonstrate who God is in your life, even in the area of the marketplace. And so what I believe, that those individuals that are economic missionaries, they are individuals that are in the marketplace, they're productive, and yet at the same time, when they are asked as to about their business and what they do, it all points back to the Lord in their life. One of my favorite characters is Joseph. Joseph is an example in the book of Genesis of what I call an economic missionary. This is a guy that even though he grew up in the situation he grew up in, the Lord was on his life. So much so that everything he was doing was prospering, even though he was a slave. But yet at the same time, even his own, what I would say, supervisor of his day saw that there was something different on Joseph's life. And that same gifting and talent for making his supervisor prosperous, that same gifting and talent rose him up to the place that he became second in line to Pharaoh, because he had a dream, and that dream saved Israel from starving, simply because he came up with an economic plan and strategy. And so those are my individuals that I look at as economic missionaries, people that are in the marketplace and yet they're carrying the message of the gospel of Jesus.
All right, now, what would you say, because there is this thought that that ministry and business have nothing to do with one another. You're doing something inappropriate.
Well, here's what I would say, because I've experienced that and I live that. I've even heard other people say that, those two don't work hand in hand. But I beg to differ, because here's the deal, that the business community needs Jesus just as much as any other entity. So I believe in something that's called the 7 cultural mountains of influence. And of course, there's the church, which is the head of it all: business, government, education, arts and entertainment, media. But should be a synergy between business and the church mountain, because they both can serve one another to help accomplish what they're called to do. And sometimes people feel like if you're in business that you can be dishonest, that if you're in business, you're only in it for the money. And let me tell you, we do business for the money. I teach people that I mentor. I say, listen, the church may be labeled nonprofit, but when you go into business, you expect to make a profit. And you got to make a profit so that you have monies to invest in other things. And so I think there's an awakening in the church community to understand that your business leaders and the business community brings value to the local church. Oftentimes, these are individuals that are used to their work ethic is an entirely different type of work ethic, and so they bring into the church business strategies, business principles, things that sometimes the church has shunned, but the church is needed, because at the end of the day, behind all the services that we have to run our ministries like a business. We have to produce profit and loss statements, just like everybody else. And so what I have tried to do is to show people that I associate with a lot of times in in the church community to get them to understand that people that work in business are an asset to your ministry, and they're not a liability. They're your friends and not your enemies. So much so that our church, about 2 years ago, the church I was pastoring, we became a part of the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce. And when I asked at the time how many other churches, at the time the lady told me there was like 2 other churches out of the whole area that we were in that were part of. Matter of fact, she was shocked when I told her I wanted to get our church a part of the Hampton Roads Chamber. I mean, these are business leaders that are making decisions about our community. The church has to have a voice. Mm-hmm. And the problem is, if the church doesn't have a voice, then we have no right to complain when legislation and policies are put in place. Why? Because we were never at the table to give a voice. And so we became part of the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce. So and as a result of that, a lot of our people in our congregation that are entrepreneurs, I started encouraging them to go to a lot of the Chamber of Commerce events. Start rubbing shoulders and learn who's who, learn about funding, make friends. Mm-hmm. And so I did this. My own personal goal is to make about 30% of my congregation entrepreneurs. That is my personal goal.
Now, I'm going to touch on something that's a little ugly, but I'm sure some people are out there. I heard it once said, and this was years ago, but I kind of practiced this myself. It's been said that some Christians can't be trusted, and I say this as a Christian, yes, and being a Christian in the marketplace, and I've heard people say, that sometimes they feel entitled, that they feel like they can, not follow the word, and they do things. I'm not really sure where this comes from, because I'm sure that you do things under a biblical principle, and yet there is it seems to be this entitlement, or I'm not really sure what it is. So a lot of people, they will let their who they are shine without ever saying, wearing their faith on their sleeve, so to speak. Not saying, hey, you should do business with me because I'm a Christian. You should do business with me because you see how I behave, and oh, by the way, I behave this way because I'm a Christian. But you find that out later. They're not wearing that on their sleeve. Does that make sense? What would you speak to that kind of that thought process or that behavior that's unfortunately, in some circles it's kind of prevalent.
Okay, well, I'm back. I had to break Dr. Davis's or James. I had to break the interview in 2 parts. So you're gonna catch the second part of it on episode 4. The interview was just I don't know. I'm hoping you're getting great things out of it, because I was getting so much good stuff from what he was sharing. And it just gets better. Now, I left it off where I had asked the question that, it's probably the elephant in the room, but it's definitely something that, people want to talk, people should talk about. People are talking about it. Yeah, like the person said, you're thinking it, I'm just saying it. So let's talk about it. So in any case, join us. I'm going to go to some our sponsors, and then wrap things up with some final thoughts. Talk to you soon.
This is Potentially Brilliant with Mark Ian Griffin. Inspiring, motivating, and educating entrepreneurs and professionals to break through barriers and see higher levels of success in life. There is brilliance in you.
2 years ago, I found the TW3 opportunity. I was in a bad place in my life, broke, busted, and disgusted. Had a failing business, was suffering with health problems, but I saw this business opportunity as something I could do, and I am so happy I looked at it. If you're looking for a work-from-home opportunity with a lot of potential and a lot of hype, that's been around for a long time and has a proven track record, go to tw3marketing.com. Again, tw3marketing.com. After being with TW3 over 2 years, I've made more money than I have of my last 50 years on this planet. Check out tw3marketing.com. GetHappyCredit.com. Hey guys, as an entrepreneur, financing was a huge thing to get me off the ground, and bad credit can definitely be a huge obstacle when trying to start your own business. Not only that, bad credit can leave you homeless, carless, and jobless. It can make it difficult to have a credit card or get a good loan interest rate. Not only that, insurance premiums, your ability to buy a house or even rent an apartment, buying a car, whether it's new or newer, or even getting a job. All of these things are going to be affected by your credit score. So go to GetHappyCredit.com. Again, that's GetHappyCredit.com. And I'm back. Okay, guys. So I hope you're getting something out of this. I hope this is good stuff. I feel like it's good stuff. This is a great interview. In any case, like I said, on episode 4, we're going to be continuing this discussion. Guys, I want to hear from you. I want to, if you have questions. I mean, I'm really I have so many people who are interested in sharing. So if you have questions, if you have experiences that you want to share, don't see. One thing that I have learned is that a lot of times we downplay our importance in life. Everything in life is like this butterfly effect, right? It's not really all about us. It's like us together as a community, whether entrepreneurial community, American community, whatever kind of community or culture you're thinking of, but people affect people, and it works both ways. It says the tongue is life and death, right? But when we speak, being positive to other people, when we speak being positive to ourselves, right, it makes a difference. It makes a difference. That's why I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say this probably to the day I die. It should be on my tombstone. You are brilliant. There is something in you that is brilliant, whether you realize it or not, okay? And if you have a moment of brilliance, I want to hear from it. If you have that time, that breaking moment, that moment where you've broken through something, even if it's something little, because like I said, even when you do those little breakthroughs, that leads you into another opportunity for something larger, and then something larger, and then something larger, right? In other words, we don't make those massive areas of victories of success right away. What we've done is we've had small victories here and there, where our belief in what we've been gifted, like Dr. James talks about, our calling, right? What we're on this planet to do. We start to believe those things. If for you guys know me, I love that movie, The Matrix. And the Oracle tells to me, know thyself. You don't believe you're the one because you're not the one because you don't believe. Guys, you are brilliant. You are the one. Believe it. I'm telling you. I believe it. Absolutely. Hey, email me at mark@pb-radio.com. I want to hear from you. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what's going on in your life. I want to share. Even things about me, I'll share. But have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.